Sports, here are your hosts, Noah Bowick and Anthony Bill.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the Couch Scouts Sports Podcast. You are here with your hosts, Anthony Bills, Dat Dude AB, and Noah Baldwig at KOTS Fantasy. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got another good episode for you. But first, gonna bring on Mr. Bills. How you doing today, man? How's Tuesday treating you?
It's good, man. I've been kind of sick the last few days, so just getting over it finally. Feels good. Just excited to talk some football and stuff because the last few days I've just been sleeping a lot and not doing much. So it's good.
Well, that's all right. You got to do that sometimes too.
Yeah.
So we're talking AFC East today, and then we're gonna go NFC East in the next couple of days. Talk some Cowboys and the rest of that division. But first, before we jump into that, we just want to say thanks for listening to this episode. If you guys want to help support the podcast, the best way to do that is subscribing to us on YouTube. Just hit that subscribe button right below this video, or hit subscribe if you're listening to Spotify podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And then follow us on Instagram. We are at the Couch Scouts Pod. Those are the best 4 or 5 ways to help us out, get our name out there, get some followers, get some traction, leave some comments, and say, hey, we always love to talk sports with you guys, no matter what you're watching or talking about. We love to engage. So, Anthony, let's talk about this AFC East. I wrote in the post this morning. This is the first time in like 18 to 19 years, depending on how you look at it, that the division doesn't have a chance to be won by Tom Brady. Obviously, he didn't win it every single time for those amount of years, but Tom Brady will not be the AFC East division champion with the Patriots this year. What are your thoughts on this division going into 2020?
It's going to be interesting. We'll see. The last couple years, each team has tried to, find a young quarterback for their future. Miami hasn't been successful yet, but I'm sure they will this year in the draft. So it's going to be interesting, and now New England's probably going to be looking for one as well. So It's a division full of young quarterbacks we know for sure at 2 places, and then the other 2 we're sure we'll be adding some young quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Buffalo, surprised a lot of people last year, with that 10-win season, and so everybody's most likely going to be coming after them now that Tom Brady's gone. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be
Right.
fun.
Yeah, they finished.
It'll be fun.
They finished. I think it was either a game and a half back or 2 games back of the Patriots in 2019, and you talk about the acquisition of Stephon Diggs, getting a true wide receiver 1 for Josh Allen. And they can still add on the defensive end and on offense in the draft as well. So I think this division, in my opinion, is anyone could take it, but I would say if there was a front runner at this point, the Bills are definitely looking like that to take it away from the Patriots. But I mean, at the same time, I've heard a lot about the Patriots potentially moving up in the draft. It would be a big move to go get like a Justin Herbert or a Jordan Love. But also there's this quarterback, Jarrett Stidham, who, he played at Baylor, and then, a whole bunch of controversy went down with the coaching staff. So he transferred, played 1 year at Auburn, which was way different than his system in Baylor. So we haven't really got a chance to see what he can do other than preseason. Do you think that there's any way that he plays for the whole 2020 season, or even into 2021, or do you think that the Patriots make a move in the draft and get someone else?
It just depends on the draft. As of right now, I'll say yes. I don't think he's the answer. I don't think he's the future. I don't think he's that great, to be honest.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of his Auburn games, and I was like, I wasn't impressed. I don't even know why everybody was so impressed on him coming to the draft, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to say, oh, he's another Jimmy G. No, he's not. Um, if they move up, then clearly they're moving up because they think Herbert or Jordan Love is a better option.
Right.
If they don't move up, then I think they'll roll with him for this 1 year. And if they suck, okay, they'll move up next year and they'll go get one of the quarterbacks next year.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, he's definitely probably going to start unless they go get one of those rookies. So,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Dang. Could you imagine a Justin Fields-led Patriots team in 2021?
No. No. Psych, I wouldn't mind that. See, it'd be better than my Ohio State boy Dwayne Haskins going to trash organization. So
That's true. That's
at
true.
least he'd go somewhere with a good organization, a good coach.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the team that was on the bottom of this division last year in the AFC East, the Miami Dolphins, who hold the number 3 pick in the AFC East. 5. The number 3 pick. Are they all the way at 5? Oh, I guess they did win.
Number 3 is Detroit.
That's right. They did win.
I'm pretty sure they.
Yeah, they started winning at the end of the year with Ryan Fitzpatrick and Devontae Adams or Devontae Parker. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, we'll still finish last in the division. Yeah. So let's talk about there's a potential. I think it's pretty clear that the Dolphins are going to take a QB in the first. With that 5th pick, it would be pretty surprising for them not to. But we've seen stranger things in the NFL. But there is a potential that if it is Tua, that they rest him for the 2020 season, give him a full year to get maybe a year under his belt, get fully healthy, and then come back strong in 2021. So there's potential that it could be Ryan Fitzpatrick or Josh Rosen. Again, I think it would most likely be Fitzpatrick. I don't see any scenario where they put Rosen over Fitzpatrick and the incoming rookie. So, I guess what do you think it will be in 2020 as far as the quarterback situation? Obviously, it depends on who they get, but let's assume it is Tua.
Tua, yeah. If it is Tua, I think I understand everybody saying, oh, they'll just sit him for a year, let him rest. But if he's healthy right now, which, I mean, he's doing workouts, he might not be 100% ready to play football, but, dude, I could see maybe where they have Fitzpatrick playing the first month of the season, and then they're ready to throw Tua in.
Yeah.
Because he's talented enough. He would be the best talented quarterback on that team. And, I mean, if you look at the Browns, Baker Mayfield's rookie year, everybody thought he was going to sit him for a year, let Tyrod Taylor go, but Tyrod Taylor wasn't getting it done, so they put Baker in, and all of a sudden the Browns looked amazing.
Right.
So if you're the Dolphins and you see last year, like, hey, towards the end of the year, we actually have some pieces, and they're going to add so many more because they have all these first-round picks and second-round picks. I mean, they could legitimately, contend for this division.
Yeah.
Not win, but they can be in contention. So I would go with Tua as fast as I could.
Yeah.
Unless you see that he's just like, yeah, he's not physically ready because of his health. But I mean, he stepped into freaking national championship game. Boom. Like, so it doesn't matter when you play him. When you put him in, he can be a game changer. So I would expect Fitzpatrick to start the season, but if Tua is healthy, I would fully expect him to be starting at least by week 6 or 7.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think looking at the Dolphins' schedule, you kind of see. I haven't looked and seen where that bye week is going to be, but sometimes teams like to switch things up in the bye week. If it is middle of the season, week 5, 6, get to an extra week to just get in line with the first team offense and then start them after that. But, it also depends on the schedule. I think when we looked at the Browns, when they brought in Baker Mayfield behind Tyrod Taylor, I think he came in, and then I think they had a stretch of like 3-4 games with well below 500 teams, and it was just like a perfect situation to get him going. But I think either way, the quarterback here to obviously own is either going to be the rookie, well, is the rookie, whoever it's going to be. If it's Herbert, if it's Tua, if it's somehow Joe Burrow. I think if you're talking from a fantasy football perspective, Fitzpatrick has pretty much gone way past his prime in any league format. He still, has those like 4 or 5 touchdown games, but then also has those 4 or 5 interception games. And
Yeah.
it was funny when he was with the Buccaneers, when it seemed like those two quarterbacks, him and Jameis Winston, would go back and forth. One quarterback would throw 3 touchdowns, and then they'd throw like 3 picks. They'd bring in Winston in the second half. He'd throw 3 touchdowns, start the next game, throw 3 interceptions. But yeah, I think it's going to be Tua, and I think it's a great, with all the rookie draft picks that they have. I think it's a great situation from an offensive perspective. It's moving to the running back position. It's also a potential for a rookie landing spot there. So they signed Jordan Howard, who came over from Philadelphia and was with Chicago before that. And then after that, there's Kalen Ballage, who hasn't really done anything since coming into the league at all. There's Patrick Laird and a few other different running backs, but you have to think that the Dolphins go ahead and get, if it's not one of the top 3, you still would assume that they're going to get at least one of the top 6 of these rookie running backs. Do you think that Jordan Howard is going to be the day 1 starter, or do you think there's a potential for a rookie to come in and steal that spot?
I think Jordan Howard, just because of the career and the pedigree he has. He was still running back 1 at first with Philly last year.
Yeah.
And then Miles Sanders took over, just because Miles Sanders fit that offense better.
Right.
But Jordan Howard, he's not super old. He's still a little young.
Yeah.
He still has a lot in the tank.
He's like
and he can be really successful, huh?
He's like you and I, a little young. We're still a little young.
He ain't young, but he ain't old.
Yeah.
Right? But he still has some left in the tank. I really like it. I like that he got to go there because they need a clear number 1.
Right.
And he's going to offer that. Now, obviously, if they go get Swift, Taylor, Dobbins, one of the top 3, they might compete and they might take over later on if Howard isn't really performing.
Yeah.
But I think he'll perform fairly well and be back to the old Jordan Howard. Maybe not the Chicago Bears Jordan Howard, but
yeah. I think it would be surprising for the Dolphins not to draft a rookie, and I think at that point the running backs below that rookie, like Kalen Ballage, Patrick Laird, I think they would basically become irrelevant for fantasy owners if you're in any kind of dynasty format. It's going to be clear that Howard and the rookie will be that 1-2 punch, and I agree with you. I think the Dolphins O-line is definitely going to get better. It's getting better, and it's going to get better in this draft, and I really like that for the prospects of Jordan Howard, who he is an in-between-the-tackles type runner, really powerful goal line back, and he actually added some. He's developing in the passing game. It's definitely not his strong suit whatsoever, but he's shown in the last couple of years to be able to stretch out and catch a couple of balls here and there. So I think either way, I think it'll be a really nice 1-2 punch, because we know, like with Dobbins, Swift, and Taylor, all 3 of those guys are going to be a little bit more versatile in what they offer to the offense as far as splitting out and catching some passes. So I think Jordan Howard, whether he remains the starter throughout all of 2020, I think he still is going to be he's going to get plenty of playing time. But as far as that, I think it's going to be Howard and the rookie, and there's not going to be room for much else. Okay, at wide receiver, we have 3 names: Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and Albert Wilson. Devontae Parker this was his best year of his career, finished as wide receiver 11, and to his ADP right now, I don't know why I didn't put the number in there, but he's a 7th round pick in startup drafts, and for the wide receiver who finished 11th, that's really, really good value, especially considering who his quarterbacks were in 2019. But he finished with 72 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 9 touchdowns. regardless of it being Fitzpatrick or a rookie quarterback, who do you think Parker puts up similar numbers? He's kind of been up and down throughout his career, but I mean, this was really his breakout season, what owners have been waiting for his whole career.
I don't know. I think he'll be the same player, but the tough one is, will the numbers be the same? Because we know they're going to add weapons, which could potentially take targets away from him.
Yeah.
Preston Williams is going to be fully healthy, and I'm not the biggest Preston Williams fan, but I mean I know a lot of people are high on him, so we'll see. And then Albert Wilson, he's just a decent slot guy, really, or he'll give you some catches. So I think Parker. I mean, there's potential that we maybe see similar numbers, but there's potential that we see 5 touchdowns instead of 9. Just because they're going to add some weapons. If they add one of these receivers, because I know there's a lot of talks about, do they go get one of Tua's teammates if they do take Tua? Do they get Judy? Do they get Ruggs?
Right.
Do they take Jefferson or Rager in the second round? So it'll just depend. I think Parker is going to have another Pro Bowl type season. I just don't know what the numbers are going to look like this year, because I don't know how the rest of the offense is going to look, just because the Dolphins have so many freaking picks, man.
Right.
They're going to load on offense because their defense isn't set, but they made a lot of free agency moves on defense.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, unfortunately, you look at Parker's career and the statistics that he's put up. He's always been up and down. He's always been drafted way higher than he performs. Other than this year was the one opposite of that. But I mean, yeah, I think the fact that he only had 72 receptions, I mean, given he did have subpar quarterback play, but with numbers like with 9 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, you would have expected for him to be in the 85 to 90 reception range. And the fact that it's at 72, I watched a lot of his film, and a lot of it was really just like jump balls, one-on-one, and then somehow breaks away and walks into the end zone. I think he still has really good talent. Like you said, he could be a Pro Bowler in 2020, but I don't think you'd be disappointed getting him in the 7th round and then seeing him maybe regress a little bit. But I definitely wouldn't reach. He's not a wide receiver that I'm going to reach on in the fifth round or earlier, just because, like you said, there is a lot of question marks. And Preston Williams was a really, really good pickup last year for the Dolphins and got off to a great start. 32 receptions, 428 yards, and 3 touchdowns in 8 games as a rookie last year before, I think he tore his ACL. But, I mean, when you look at those 3 names, it kind of looks like they might need to add another weapon. I think, I really like Albert Wilson, but I think he's more of a, he's kind of like a change of pace wide receiver. Get him in there for set plays. I don't know how consistent he is. He played, I know he had some injuries, but in 2019, but he, only 43 receptions and 1 touchdown. So I would definitely expect for them to go get a wide receiver. I mean, I think they have 2 or 3 second-round picks, so that could be a position where they go and get like a Mims or a Jefferson if he falls that far into the second. It just kind of depends on the draft, which makes it way easier to do this after the draft, but also just kind of fun to predict who lands on their team.
Yeah. They have 6 first and second round picks.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So I mean, really, there's no saying what they do because there's gonna be so much that changes in the draft and could.
They could probably call Bill O'Brien and be like, "Hey, we'll give you a second rounder for Brandon Cooks."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, which he would be a great fit in the Dolphins' offense. If they go get Tua and come and get Brandon Cooks and Devontae Parker, that'd be a nice little duo.
Yeah, we're just throwing shade at Bill O'Brien. We'll do that on every episode.
Just keep offering him lower and lower in picks and see what he does. Okay, so tight end Mike Gesicki. I think he's going into his third or fourth year out of Penn State, where he was a beast. And this year really came into his own. 51 receptions, 570 yards, 5 touchdowns. Finished as the tight end 12, and he's still decent value at 113, a 10th round draft pick. I think anytime that you can get a top 15 tight end outside of the 10th round, I think that's really, really good value. And I think that he's just, when he first came in with the Dolphins, obviously it's been a disorganized organization, but he kind of had some difficulty finding his niche in the offense and within the team. But I feel like this year he took some really big steps and should continue to keep being a prolific part of that offense. So I would expect for him to be in that 65 reception range, 700 yards. I think 5 touchdowns is great, but I would definitely expect him in the top 10 amongst fantasy tight ends in 2020. I know you like him. What'd you say, stud? When I said him, but
he's a stud.
Yeah, would you agree with that in 2020?
Oh yeah, all of those numbers will go up. I think, which is another reason why I was like, it's potential that Devontae Parker's goes down because, dude is like 6'7".
Yeah, he's huge.
He's big. He's fast, just super athletic, and he's just gonna be he'll be deadly, man. I expect him. I think he'll easily creep into the top 10 of tight ends.
Yeah.
He's just one of those that next wave. We had Gronk, Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates. We had that. And now we're living out this Bull Kelsey, Zach Ertz thing. I feel like the next wave is going to be, Gesicki, Fant,
yeah,
O.J. Howard, Irv Smith, the guys we've talked about. Gesicki's up there with them.
Yeah.
He has a lot of potential to be not Gronk, but close to it.
Yeah.
Just with his athletic ability, and he's freaking huge. And this is going to be his third year. So his rookie year, up and down. He had a little bit of injuries, and that was the year Miami was just that's when it was just really bad.
Yeah.
Last year, he turned it on, and he's just going to keep getting better and better, especially if he gets a good quarterback like Tua.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think when you look at what their offense has been the last 2 years, is honestly just terrible, and it's no surprise that he wasn't able to fit into that because he is an offensive playmaker, and when you don't have a playmaking type offense, it's hard for you to fit into there. And last year was finally the first time that we actually got to see him utilize his potential on the field. And you talk about, playing with a quarterback like Tua and adding more offensive weapons, it's just going to just open up the field for him so much more and not have to rely upon run blocking, et cetera, as his main responsibility. Is going to allow him to just become more of a pass catcher. So I agree with you. I think I don't own him in any of my fantasy leagues, but I definitely will be targeting him this year after seeing just his growth.
Yeah, his rookie year, he's playing for Adam Gase, man.
Right.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's like playing for Bill O'Brien, to be honest. Okay, so let's talk about the second place team in this division, the Buffalo Bills.
Sorry.
No, caught me off guard.
If you guys don't know by now, my last name is Bills.
Bills, and we just call him Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I call you Anthony. Probably 5 times in your
Probably
life.
never, because one of our closest friends, his name is Anthony as well. So
yeah,
my last name compared to his last name,
way easier to say.
You want to say mine.
But yeah, the Buffalo Bills, the second place team in the AFC East last year, and definitely made some great moves this year and still can make some good moves. But let's start at quarterback, Josh Allen, who really has, I think, surprised people since being drafted out of Wyoming a couple years ago. Last year finished as the QB6, 3,000 passing yards, 58% completion percentage, which has always been the knock on him coming into the NFL. But 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and obviously what he's been able to do on the ground, the 9 rushing touchdowns, that obviously has propelled him into that QB6 position. But I mean, an ADP of 92, so 8th round for a QB6. If he continues to put up numbers through the air and on the ground, I think he's a really, really good value in dynasty leagues, considering that the Bills are not regressing. They are getting better. Do you like Josh Allen as a fantasy quarterback, Anthony, or are you moving somewhere else?
Why do you keep laughing?
I just realized I called you Anthony, and I just said I never call you that.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I like Josh Allen a lot. Maybe it's just because the last time I really paid attention to Josh Allen was against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
He went off.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like him a lot. I'm surprised he's QB6. That was really surprising to me. I mean, I knew the rushing touchdowns is huge, especially for a quarterback. Man, that's just stealing value, which is why, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, those guys, Lamar Jackson, that's why he's going to be so high. But, yeah, he's going to keep getting better. His rookie year, once he finally started to play and got into a little bit of a groove, you could see the interceptions and the inaccuracies there.
Yeah.
But he's such a big, strong arm. He's honestly, he reminds me a lot of Cardell Jones, but he's like actually has skill to go with the strong arm,
Yeah.
Because he's big, he can run, he has the cannon of an arm, but he actually can put it all together, and he's just going to keep getting better. The interceptions, they'll probably stay around the same his entire career, honestly. Just like a Brett Favre, just like, certain guys, that's just going to be in them because they're gunslingers.
Yeah.
The touchdowns are going to increase. I think the rushing touchdowns might decrease a little, just with more weapons that they keep adding for him, and Devin Singletary is going to step in and be a full-time number one. So
Yeah.
I really like him a lot, especially for Dynasty.
Yeah.
Especially for Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, if you track his ADP from when he was first drafted into the NFL, he wasn't even being selected in the top 230 players when he first came into the league. And, I mean, like you just were talking about Mike Gesicki, who's 6'7". I think Josh Allen is 6'7" as well. And he can literally throw the ball 70 yards, and it's not always accurate, but you start bringing in weapons like a Stephon Diggs who can, run underneath those passes and make plays. It's scary to think, what this offense could be in the Bills. I'm happy for Bills Mafia and for the Bills organization because they've done it the right way, and they've built that defense up. They got a lot of young players on this team, and now they can focus on surrounding Josh Allen with some good talent. I think for me, if 8th round is great value, I'll definitely select him there. I think I'm just curious. The 9 rushing touchdowns. I think that's the only thing that you touched on. Like, is that sustainable? We see rushing quarterbacks. How long, can he keep doing this and stay healthy? Because he is a quarterback. He's a big guy. He likes to throw his body around. But like you said, they're not going to need him to do that as much anymore. So I think he's definitely going to stay a top 10 fantasy quarterback going forward, and definitely has surprised, I think, everyone, considering what the scouting reports were on him in the draft. But
yeah, I think he can withstand it because he's got that Ben Roethlisberger body type when Ben first came in the league, and Ben
that's
was
true.
Around. Not saying he's more athletic than Ben was, I think, back then, but he's 240 on top of that, 6'6" frame, whatever. Like he's 240. Like it's not 6 foot, 190 Michael Vick or Kyler Murray or Lamar Jackson even.
Yeah.
It's a full body.
Yeah.
So he could take a little bit, but I'm definitely with you, especially in the AFC East, where a lot of the games, half the season they're going to play is going to be 30 degrees and colder.
Yeah.
Unless they go down to Miami. But yeah, I'm with you there. That is one thing that does scare you, but that draft class is crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're just going to keep getting better offensive weapons for him. So I think, yeah, he does. He reminds you a lot of Big Ben. The huge arm, the big frame, able to elude defenders in a unique way. I think,
Yeah.
I think the Bills got a great quarterback there. Okay, so from the running back position, you mentioned Devin Singletary potentially stepping into a true RB1 role in 2020. Definitely a surprise in 2019 after after being drafted. He's a pretty small frame guy, but was able to come in and show that he's capable of carrying a pretty big workload, turning 151 attempts into 775 yards and adding 29 receptions to the air as well. I think he missed a couple games, but for the most part was able to stay healthy, and a player that I really really like, considering that he's a starting running back heading into 2020, and you can still get him in the mid to late fifth round, despite him finishing in the top 32 among running backs. So, do you think that he remains the clear number one running back, or do you think the Bills go ahead and draft another back as well?
I mean, they could maybe take one late in the draft just as like a potential future backup, but I think he's clearly number one. They moved on from Frank the Tank,
Yeah,
or
finally.
was it? Oh, yes, it was him.
Yeah,
Or Sean.
yeah,
I'm getting mixed up. Frank Gore and LaShawn McCoy literally keep switching teams, and it's confusing me. LaShawn too.
yeah,
Yeah, he clearly stepped in, and they see the value there. I don't know if he's going to be a number one for years to come. He is a little back, like you said.
yeah,
Might be better off being a 1-2 punch with somebody, which I think is why they brought T.J. Yeldon in. T.J. Yeldon isn't a beast. He isn't, some guy, but he's reliable. He's going to play for you. But yeah, I mean, dude, he averaged 5 yards a carry. He missed 4 games. He played 12.
yeah.
And the receiving is there. 29 receptions. It'll get better.
Oh yeah.
He's way better than that. A lot of that is on Josh Allen as well, though.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, running back 32. If you can get him in that 50 range, at average draft position, he's a good running back. 2 or 3 option for your fantasy team.
Yeah.
For sure, because he's gonna be reliable and get you points every week.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely has that running back 2 value, I think, in fantasy leagues right now. You mentioned the running back behind him, T.J. Yeldon. They brought him over and didn't do anything in 2019. Was the running back 92. He's proven to have some success, definitely in the passing game, more so than in the run game. So if he can get healthy for 2020, I think that he does add at least some PPR value. And since we are talking about like a small framed running back like Devin Singletary, it's definitely a backfield that you want to pay attention to, just in the case of an injury. So if the Bills do go ahead and draft a running back, that will definitely be a rookie that you'll want to target in dynasty leagues. I did write down one other running back to own is Christian Wade, who came over, I think it was from a London rugby league last year, and he was a rookie in the NFL. This year he was on the practice squad, but if you go and watch some of his highlights, I think it was against the Panthers in the preseason last year, he had like 2 touches and took them both for 80-yard touchdowns. So, they brought him back to the team, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes the opening day roster in 2020. But if you're in a dynasty league, definitely a player to own, at least over the offseason, just to see what happens there. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. Stephon Diggs, the wide receiver 1 of the Bills. Finally, they have a wide receiver 1. I think John Brown he's more of he fits better in an offense as a wide receiver 2. I think to ask him to be the clear number 1 with Josh Allen is a lot to ask, but he did decent in 2019. Definitely one of the best years of his career. But let's talk about expectations for Stephon Diggs with the Bills. He had 63 receptions, 6 touchdowns, and over 1,000 yards last year with the Vikings. Was the wide receiver 24. I got to think in my mind it's gonna be a better year than that. I'm thinking at least in the top 20, if not higher. How about you?
Yeah, I think he's gonna have the best year of his career.
Okay.
I do. He's finally the clear-cut number 1, and he's not playing with Kirk Cousins. So I think Diggs will put up I think 2 years ago with Minnesota, he had 100 receptions. He might have reached double-digit touchdowns, but I can't remember. But I think we could see that again. Maybe not 100 catches, just because
That
Josh
would be
Allen
the
was
best
so
year of his
inactive.
career.
But 100 touchdowns, that'd be crazy. But I could see 80, 90 catches. I can definitely see that, and I think over 1,000 yards, touchdowns. We'll see. But I think it's going to be one of the best years of his career.
Yeah.
100%. Because you know how it is sometimes just a new place just energizes you. Not that Stephon Diggs needs to be energized. He still had a good year last year. Um, but wide receiver 24, I think he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver this year for me.
Yeah. Looking at what he's done throughout the course of his career, 52 catches his rookie year, 84 catches the next year, down to 64 in 2017. Last year he passes the century mark at 102, and then this year 63. So there is kind of this, we've talked about with some other players as well, there's this up and down trend where they seem to go kind of on this roller coaster ride, and I think that's for a variety of reasons. With Stephon Diggs, looking at the quarterbacks that he's played with and who's been ahead of him, but I mean, if that tells you anything, it tells me that he's primed for, like you said, at least an 80 catch season, and I think he puts up another 1,000 yards, and yeah, I think his touchdown. I think his best touchdown totals is coming in 2020. I think that he's going to be that target, that deep threat target, playmaker target for the Bills offense, and he's definitely a player that I'm not passing on if he comes to me in the fourth round. I've seen him go a lot earlier in the third round in some drafts. If he comes to me in the fourth round, I have no problem selecting him there as a top 25 wide receiver. How about John Brown? What are we thinking? What does he do in 2020?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. Just because Stephon Diggs is going to take a lot of his targets, no doubt. But he is still very reliable. He catches most of his targets as long as they're accurate. And I would see his receptions going down, which obviously is going to take his yards down. The touchdowns, I can see the touchdowns staying the same, but it also might go down as well. His value is dropping, but I don't have a problem with that ADP or getting him in the 11th round, because he's still a talented receiver. He's just not a number one. So now he gets to go in his actual role of being a number two. So I mean, he was playing in that number one spot last year, and he put up some really good numbers. So what do you think he'll do against number two corners?
Right.
Where Stephon Gilmore is going to be on Stephon Diggs, not John Brown.
Yeah.
Byron Jones is going to be on Stephon Diggs, not John Brown, for the Dolphins. So there's potential there. I don't know what his numbers are going to be.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Just because Stephon Diggs, and we'll talk about Beasley in a minute, those two I think are going to thrive together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely. Last year was the best year of his entire career. Aside from touchdowns, I think he scored 7 touchdowns in 2015. So this was definitely a career year for him. But also, like you said, he was being asked to be the wide receiver one. He was being guarded by the defense's best week in and week out. And I think he's gonna regress a little bit, but I would project him somewhere in that 55 to 60 reception range, maybe 700 to 800 yards, and I think 6 touchdowns is a really, really good. I wouldn't cap him there, but I think it's a pretty good ceiling. I think 6 to 7 is probably his ceiling. I don't see him going any higher than that. So, based on the ADP at 127, 11th round, I think that's pretty good value, assuming that he's, I think in our minds, he's not going to put up the same types of numbers, but it remains to be seen what he does. But yeah, talk about Cole Beasley and how does that mesh with John Brown? Obviously, Cole Beasley, a former Cowboy, and had a really, really solid year in 2019 with the Bills.
Yeah, Cole Beasley, I like this guy so much, man. But we just didn't have the money to pay him.
Yeah.
But he's so reliable. He plays every week. he catches everything that comes near him, and I'm telling you, man, like third down, it's automatic if you just look for him. It's very similar to. Uh, he's not as good as these guys, or he hasn't put up the same numbers, but it's very similar to Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, any slot, any
Yeah.
little slot white guy that you can think of. He's it. Um, he gets open, he runs crisp routes, and he just he's going to make plays for you, and he finds the end zone as well, which is an added bonus because at the start of his career he wasn't. It was just reliable third down catches. But he's found an offense that really fits him, that really likes him, and with Stephon Diggs and John Brown going to be hitting them deep routes, he's just going to have so much more open space in the middle of the field where he does his most dangerous work. Um, and if you can get, I think I like Cole Beasley over John Brown for fantasy wise. So I mean, if you look at the ADP 11th round to the 20th round,
Yeah.
give me Cole Beasley all day. I probably wouldn't wait till the 20th round to take him. Just because I think he's still going to if he puts up numbers like that, that's way, way better than 20th round value.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so as far as Dynasty goes, I mean, he's not old, but I don't know how much more he'll have in him just because he is a smaller frame. He has had some concussions with the Cowboys. He did have a couple. Just with his little body, I don't know how much more he'll take in the NFL, especially in that division and that cold weather, but
Yeah.
I would roll the dice on him for a couple years for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. That's a really good point. I would take his 233 ADP over John Brown's 127, just solely based on the fact that he's going to be in that slot role, and unless the Bills make some kind of move and get one of these top rookies, I think he's pretty much locked in for that 60 reception type season. I think the 6 touchdowns was a surprise, but I mean, also you look at John Brown, he had 6 as well. It was John Brown, Cole Beasley, both had 6 in 2019. So Josh Allen he's not afraid to spread the ball around, and you obviously throw a receiver in there like Stephon Diggs. That could potentially take some touchdowns away. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 touchdowns, somewhere in that range. But slot receivers, they get a lot of red zone targets just based on the formations that line up there when things get tight. So, like you said, the value, I think, way better. I'll take Cole Beasley over John Brown in a startup draft.
Yeah, I mean, he has 9 touchdowns in 8 seasons. And the first 2 seasons, he didn't play much for Dallas, and he had 2. So if you look at it, 6 seasons, 27 touchdowns, he's going to get you 4 or 5 or 6 every year.
Yeah.
You can put that, you can put that to paper. You're
in
going to
the
get
bank.
that. It's going to put up anywhere in that 600 to 800 yards every single year. He's just super reliable.
Yeah. Okay, how about tight end? I know that the Bills have a handful of different tight ends, but Dawson Knox is, I think, definitely one that will be highly effective in the offense in 2020. He finished as the tight end 32. Last year, ADP of 170, 15th round, 28 receptions, 388 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think he definitely is going to have a much better season in 2020. Just developing in that offense, growing within the NFL as a whole. And, it seemed like the Bills had a handful of different tight ends that just couldn't stay healthy last year. But do you like Dawson Knox? I know you might know a little bit more about him than I, but I'm not sure.
No, I don't know much, but I just remember seeing him play at, I think, Ole Miss in college, and he was good. You can see he's just another young tight end that comes in. There's the ceiling is so high, but the floor is so low as well.
Right.
So just tough. But he's a young guy, so we know he's going to be the number 1 guy there. Now, and I think he'll do better than tight end 32. I agree with you. I think he's going to put up some better numbers than 28, 400, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I can see him getting 40 catches.
Yep.
Maybe a couple more touchdowns with those catches. So he's not somebody that I want to rely on as my tight end 1. But I mean, if we're in a dynasty, draft him if you can get one of the good big guns early, or even one of the guys like Gesicki in the 10th round or whatever it is, and then you want to roll with this guy as well just to see which one pans out over the next few years. And absolutely, he's well worth the risk because he has a lot of talent. And I mean, let's be honest, anytime you come from an SEC school, there's a lot of buzz and there's potential. Obviously, you got to be good to play in the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah, I think for him it'll just come down to being able to stay on the field. I don't doubt that he can double his 2019 stats in 2020, but he played 8 games his sophomore year at Ole Miss, 9 games his junior year. So he did miss a handful of games
right.
both years, and I think we saw that this year as well. So I think for him it's just a matter of being able to stay healthy. So if you are a fantasy owner, dynasty owner, definitely check out the depth chart for the Bills. I know a tight end like Jason Kroom is on there. Tyler Croft, yep, is behind Dawson Knox. So those would be other guys to target as well. But at the same time, you might as well be better off just targeting. If you're doing a startup, you might as well just target a different tight end if you're looking for depth there.
He did stay healthy for his rookie season, though. That is one thing.
Yeah.
He played 15 games of the 17, or 16.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
But to play 17 games in 2 seasons at Ole Miss and you match that in the NFL, I'm like, that's confusing. Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the AFC East, the New York Jets, Jets, Jets.
Slow grind.
Yeah, right. Shout out to our guy, Slow Grind. We were trying to get him on the podcast today, but he couldn't make it on. He's a New York Knicks, New York Jets fan. So we're going to try and get him on the podcast, at least for the draft.
I have to find out if he's a Mets or Yankees fan. Then.
Oh, we should ask.
I need to know that.
Yeah, so we'll try and get him on because we want to see his reaction to the Jets picks. I think they have like the 11th pick. We want to see what they do in the draft. But let's talk about Sam Darnold, who is paired up with Adam Gase and finished as quarterback 27, ADP 164, 14th round draft pick in startup drafts, 19 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and only 61% completion percentage. I think this was definitely not what Jets fans were expecting this year with Le'Veon Bell, second year back, Jamison Crowder, Robbie Anderson, Chris Herndon. They have some good weapons, some good names. It's good name talent, but couldn't really put it all together on the field in that division. Where are we thinking with Sam Darnold? He's definitely talented, but it's very similar to Mitchell Trubisky numbers, in my opinion. Is it a case of the Jets organization, or is it just a case of talent?
Sorry. I think it's just a case of this dude is young. He's only 22 right now. He came to the NFL at 20. Not many people do that. I mean, Lamar Jackson as well. But it's tough. I think the thing with Sam Darnold, he definitely has all the talent in the world. You can see it. This is another AFC East quarterback that absolutely destroyed my Cowboys on national TV. And it looked like the Jets were about to go on a tear.
Yep.
I think he just came from a USC system where they play in the Pac-12, and he just looked better than he was. Because even if you look, I remember I was like, the Browns need to take this guy. The Browns need to take this guy. And then I watched the Rose Bowl, and Ohio State absolutely destroyed this guy.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, maybe not. Maybe let's pump the brakes. Maybe not. I think he has the talent. I think it's just the head. It's mental right now. Obviously, with the whole I'm seeing ghost thing.
Yeah.
That should never been reported bad on ESPN for that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm not as high on the weapons are that you are. I don't know. I mean, Le'Veon Bell, yes, but Jameson Crowder does not impress me. Rashad Perriman does not impress me. I know they have good numbers, but that's because they're the only thing there.
That's true.
I mean, at least if you look at, I don't know, if you flop him and Baker Mayfield, I think the Browns probably go 12-4 last year.
Yeah.
With the weapons, Sam Darnold, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, just give him some weapons, man. Like give our guy slow grind Jerry Judy,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
or CeeDee Lamb at least. Give him some better weapons. Like I don't know. I like him, but he's somebody that I'm probably staying away from right now. If it is dynasty and I can get, one of the top 5 or 10 quarterbacks, and then if I come back and I'm like, okay, let me take Sam Darnold now, because if Sam Darnold does pop, he has potential to be a future stud in
right,
this league. So
right,
I'm staying away from him
yeah,
unless it's late.
yeah. That's a good point. I think I think he's definitely kind of that QB2 material right now, but he still has a really high ceiling, like you said, at 22 years old, and knowing that the Jets are going to get him help. They have to get him some more help, now that Robbie Anderson's gone. I think that the Brashad Perryman signing helps, but they definitely need to add a second. They should add a wide receiver one. When I look at Crowder and Perriman, I don't see a wide receiver one out of there. I think both are good in their respective positions, but there's no true wide receiver like you're talking about. Baker Mayfield has OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, and this is like the Browns 2.0 downgrade.
I mean, it's very similar to Buffalo before they got Stephon Diggs. So, but Josh Allen performed with that, so I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself.
Well,
I mean, Jameson Crowder is very comparable to John Brown, and the numbers are too. So
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think like you said, we just got to give Sam Darnold some more time. Honestly, either way, if you're in a dynasty league or in a redraft league and a new coach, I don't know about giving him more time, but got to give him something. I think if you're in a dynasty league or a redraft league, I think Sam Darnold's a great late draft pick, just because he can thrive in an offensive system. But Le'Veon Bell, I think, he held out for that contract. He went and he got his contract by the New York Jets, and it really just hasn't been what it's panned out to be. Last year he's still putting up decent numbers. He finished as the running back 16, which as a sixth round draft pick, not terrible, but you also know he is getting up there in age. 245 attempts last year, so they're still giving him a pretty heavy workload, but he only got in the end zone 3 times and only had 1 receiving touchdown. So I think in the 6th round, I'm happy taking Le'Veon Bell there, but he definitely has to improve in this offense and be that bell cow running back that the Jets fans expected when he came over to New York. 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 receiving touchdowns. I think he definitely has to be in that 3 to 4 receiving touchdown range and at least 6 rushing touchdowns in order to be considered a really consistent running back 1 or running back 2. But I could see, based on what the Jets have behind Le'Veon Bell, Kenneth Dixon, and Trenton Cannon, I could see them going and getting one of these rookie running backs. Not a Taylor Swift or Dobbins, but maybe a guy like Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Zach Moss, one of the lesser-known running backs, just to at least be a backup to Le'Veon Bell as he plays out his contract.
Yeah. I mean, and another thing, the offensive line for the Jets was so bad last year.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's another issue with Sam Darnold. So, I mean, it's so tough because they need to go get a weapon like a Judy or a CeeDee Lamb early, but they also need to get in some offensive linemen. So it's so tough. Like, if I'm in the Jet position, I'm like, okay, do I maybe try to trade and get, a couple multiple picks so I can address both positions early, or,
That's very true.
So like Le'Veon Bell, the talent is still there. We saw him pop off a few plays last year, but him and Adam Gase, they really don't see eye to eye.
Right.
Halfway through the season, they were already talking about he was going to get traded.
Yeah.
And all this. So hopefully they put all that noise behind them now, and hopefully that they put it. And And I'm with you on Le'Veon Bell. I think he still has potential to be a top 10 running back in fantasy. Like, just a couple years ago, this guy was number one, you know? Um, so I hope to see him get back to that because I love when Le'Veon Bell is one of the best because he is so elite. So hopefully he bounces back. I think his touchdowns will go up, rushing and receiving. 100% they're going to go up because Sam Darnold hopefully stays healthy all season as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. It's kind of scary right now on Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're in dynasty leagues, I think that the window, I would definitely wouldn't sell Le'Veon Bell right now because I do think that he's got a rebound at some point. I think that you can sell him for a higher price, hopefully in 2020. But, two running backs to own, at least over the offseason, Kenneth Dixon and Trenton Cannon, and then keep an eye on the Jets in the draft and see what they do. And, Devontae Freeman is still out there as well. That could be, potential signing as well. So just keep an eye on the Jets running back situation. Jamison Crowder was definitely a surprise for the Jets last year, finishing as the wide receiver 26, so just behind Stephon Diggs. ADP of 124, 11th round, which he saw that climb up, but had 78 receptions, 833 yards, and 6 touchdowns last year. I honestly think it was a case. I mean, it was clear that he was one of Sam Darnold's favorite targets, but you also talk about the weeks that Sam Darnold missed, the multiple quarterbacks that they went through. Jameson is a great slot receiver, but he also, he had he almost had 80 receptions and only put up 833 yards. So you kind of look at, the touchdowns were there, but you look at what happened as far as the yards goes. A lot of underneath stuff, just because the offense, they're not able to develop that offense with bringing in multiple quarterbacks and Sam Darnold being out for a couple of games with the mono. So I don't expect the same numbers in 2020 for Jamison Crowder. I don't know about you.
No, obviously it's going to depend. If he's number one again, then yes, I think we can expect the same numbers, but I don't think he's going to be number one.
Yeah.
But if you look at his years in Washington, he averaged about 64 catches every single year, except for 2018, where he dealt with some injuries and he only had 29. But so he's very similar to John Brown. Like I said, I think he's going to give you, 55 to 65 catches, and then the touchdowns is going to be in that 4 to 6 range, possibly.
Yep.
So he's very valuable. When I was talking about Sam Darnold, I didn't like him being that number one.
Yeah.
But fantasy-wise and being fantasy relevant, he's very fantasy relevant wide receiver. And it's a very good, wide receiver 3 option for you.
Yep.
Especially if he's going to finish in the top 30, But yeah, I think his numbers will decline a little bit, but I don't think they'll decline too much. Just because he's going to be their only option other than their new wide receiver that they draft. Because Rashad Perriman he's touchdown reliant. And I don't know how much that's going to hold up in the New York Jets offense. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we will see on Crowder. I think, like you said, he was a top 30 wide receiver, and he's being selected in the 11th round. So if he puts up similar numbers, I think 11th round is a really good value for him as a wide receiver 3, because you'll most likely have 3 to 4 wide receivers on your team by that point. So he's a really good value in terms of his ADP. I think for Perriman, it was a pretty surprising signing for the Jets. They definitely needed to, things might have just fell apart with Robbie Anderson, and they knew they needed to go get another wide receiver. But Perriman's been a receiver who's been up and down. There's been a lot of hype over him over the course of his whole career with Cleveland and then Tampa Bay. And last year, towards the end of the season when Godwin went down and Mike Evans went down, Perriman, he did kind of flash and showed that potential that people have been talking about. But, in my opinion, I would rather have a Jamison Crowder. I would rather have a regressed Jamison Crowder season rather than invest in Rashad Perriman with the 13th round pick. I think there's some younger rookie picks or receivers out there that I would rather invest in with that 13th round pick rather than Perriman. Just because I felt like last year, I mean, the Buccaneers were wheeling and dealing. They were just playing to win and playing to lose, and throwing the ball all over the place. And so he obviously had to catch something, and had to catch some touchdowns. But I'm interested to see how he fits into the Jets scheme. I'm not sold, in my opinion.
Yeah. What about Dotson?
Not sold either.
I think so. I was just wondering.
I think.
I loved him coming out of college, man.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was going to be a stud.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at how his career has went.
Yeah.
Obviously, went to Washington, so Washington is a place, honestly, where some careers just go to die.
Yeah.
Sucks, but.
And I believe Crowder was in Washington with him as well.
He was, yeah, he was, and
prior to that,
he was right there with Garcon and.
Yep.
One of the top guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and good for Crowder. Having the best year of his career outside of Washington. So I think, I'm not sold on Dotson or Quincy Enunwa. And Enunwa's been a guy who, everyone's like he's going to be the wide receiver one every year, and then he ends up getting hurt. And unfortunately, I have invested some stock into him. Unfortunately, over the last couple of years, but he's not on any of my rosters anymore at this point. And especially with a Judy or a CeeDee Lamb or one of the top receivers coming in, I think that just pushes those two names out of the picture, and you run with a squad of Crowder, Perriman, and then whoever the rookie is. So those would be I think those are the three most fantasy relevant in any formats. Dotson, even though he's gotten the opportunities, he hasn't done anything with it, so I think I'll pass on those. The tight end situation is going to be interesting. Last year, Chris Herndon was suspended the first 4 games of the season, and then comes back into action and gets hurt, and really I don't even think he played anything fantasy relevant in 2019. His ADP still suggests that he has value in the 16th round, but you also have Ryan Griffin, who played a majority of the season alongside Sam Darnold and the other quarterbacks, and finished as the tight end 22, and his ADP is 233, so 20th round. Who would you rather own here, Anthony? I think Herndon is the front runner for the position, but he also has been given the reins for the last couple of years and hasn't done a whole lot with it. So are you still gonna give hope to him, or are you just gonna play it safe with Ryan Griffin?
I will take option C if I can. I don't know. I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no idea about either of these guys. I don't know. I've heard of them. Fantasy-wise, I've never seen them on a roster. I never would have put them on a roster. So I guess if I had to, I would probably just go Herndon just because the opportunity is going to be his again.
Yeah.
But I'd rather keep my free agency or my slot open and look at free agency or rookie draft and stay away from both of them, to be quite honest. But I don't know. You'll probably have a better fantasy take on them than I.
No, I know. He's coming into his 3rd year. Last year he was obviously hurt for the whole season. I think he played in 1 game, had 1 catch for 7 yards. But the year prior to that, his rookie season was 39 receptions, 502 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And I think that's when he blew up on everyone's map. And that was, probably Sam Darnold's best year as well. And they were like, this is the next duo. This is the Tom Brady Gronk connection. But even that year, he only started 12 games. He played in all 16. But I think from a dynasty perspective, I'm still going to go with Chris Herndon, but it's definitely questionable at this point. I think I would feel safer spending a 16th round pick rather than investing in it. Spending a 20th round pick on a tight end that might not play. I think you could most likely get Ryan Griffin on waivers in most leagues, since since he's going to be ahead of the other. So
Yeah. So I guess if we look at Herndon as 16th round, and then when we did the AFC South last week,
yeah,
those guys were very similar. So would you rather have those guys, or would you rather roll the dice on a Herndon because the potential? Because you got Darren Fells, I think.
Darren Fells, Tyler Eifert,
Um,
Jack Doyle,
Johnny Smith, Jack Doyle,
Yeah.
All these guys. It's around a similar draft position.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I think Doyle would be my number one choice over any of the tight ends. I really like. I'd probably go Doyle, Jonnu Smith, and then Herndon. I think those would be the three. And then Darren Fells is obviously, I think he's like 37 or 34. He's up there. So I think Jack Doyle would be my favorite just because what we're gonna get out of him.
Right.
He's done it consistently. Yeah, he's done it consistently before. So I would take a Jack Doyle over Herndon or Jonnu Smith easily. But yeah, I mean, definitely don't wait till the 16th round to get your tight end, for sure. For sure, don't wait.
Right.
Okay, how about the Patriots? This is the last team of the AFC East. The New York Patriots, who they might not win the division this year for the first time in a while. We talked about the quarterback situation. The Patriots, it's rumored that they're trying to move up in the draft and they could go get a Jordan Love or Herbert. I kept wanting to say Gilbert. But at the moment it's Jarrett Stidham, and he just popped up on the ADP radar going 20th round, obviously because no one's seen what he can do. I think in 2 quarterback leagues and super flex leagues, teams have owned him since he got drafted, just in the expectation that he's going to take over for Tom Brady at some point. But I mean, he's still 23 years old, was a 4th round draft pick in 2018. I don't know. It's a tough situation. It's yet to be seen. I think at this point, if you're in a dynasty league and you draft before the draft, the rookie draft, I don't think there's any point in getting a Jarrett Stidham because I don't think he's going to pop off unless you play in a super flex league or a 2 quarterback league. Then yeah, definitely go ahead and get him. But if you're just in a single quarterback league, you might as well go get a Jack Doyle or a tight end in the 20th round. And just kind of wait to see what happens, because most likely there's going to be some owner in your league who's like, oh, I got to go get the next Patriots quarterback, and they're going to go get him, and they're probably going to spend a 15th, 16th round pick on him and let him do it, and there will be plenty of other quarterbacks to own, specifically the rookie quarterbacks. If you had to choose, Anthony, if you were the GM of the New England Patriots, outside of Burrow and Tua, which quarterback do you think would fit best into this offense?
That is tough. I would go with Herbert. I really like Justin Herbert, but I don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think people are starting to see the potential of Justin Herbert. Because, I mean, Justin Herbert, he might not be as thick, but he has a lot of similarities to Josh Allen.
Yeah,
if you watch
that's very true. Yeah,
he can run, and he has a huge arm. And,
yeah,
I like Justin Herbert a lot, and he's not Tom Brady, obviously. Nobody is, but I think he could really excel with McDaniels in that offense. Because I know McDaniels is super clever, man. He's such a bright offensive mind.
yeah,
And if you give him a guy that can actually run and move around in the pocket, unlike Brady could, I think the Patriots offense could be dangerous. And they're not going to beat Tom Brady and winning right away, but they can be dangerous.
yeah.
It'd be a steal. Obviously, the best would be Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields next year.
Yeah.
But I would like to see them get Justin Herbert, if anybody, this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean, this was a playoff team last year. Obviously, that Tom Brady under center, but there's still the pieces put in place to get back to the playoffs. Again, you look at, you still got Julian Edelman, you got N'Keal Harry, Mohamed Sanu, and Sony Michel and James White and Damian Harris, who they drafted last year as well. So, if they decide not to go QB, or even if they do, I think they still can add enough pieces to make a run at it if they. I mean, they have the coaching potential. We know that with Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. So, a lot of people are writing the Patriots off already, but I think they're definitely not gonna roll over. They're gonna be contenders in this division for sure. And Sony Michel was a running back that I texted you about a couple days ago, and I asked what do you think Sony Michel does in 2020, because you were like, well, I hope for my sake he explodes, because I have him on fantasy and I'm trying to move him. But I mean, I was surprised he still had 247 attempts last year, 912 yards, 7 touchdowns, which you look at that and that's nothing to turn your head at. But I think for me, he's not involved in the passing game whatsoever, and the yards per carry is definitely not what we've been accustomed to with Sony Michel since his rookie year. I mean, the 7 touchdowns is really nice. You'd like to see that increase, but that was really what he was dependent on and what fantasy owners had to depend on. And I think there was one game where he had 3 in one game. So you spread out the other 4 touchdowns over the span of the other 15 games. It's really, really hard to depend on. And I know you experienced that as a fantasy owner. But we talked about this a little bit, but what do the Patriots need to do in order for Sony Michel to actually be fantasy relevant, or at least fantasy consistent?
Yeah, I think they just need to cater the offense more towards him, because that's the thing. With Tom Brady being gone, Tom Brady loves to get in shotgun and just throw to James White a lot and Rex Burkhead. So with Tom Brady being gone, we will see if they maybe cater it more to Sony Michel, to where he gets more touches. I mean, 247 carries is a lot. That's up there around the tops in the league. But will they give him more opportunities out of the backfield?
Yeah.
Will they keep rolling with James White? James White's so good out of the backfield.
Right.
So it's tough. I think we'll see Michel's carries. I think they might go down a little bit, but they also might. I think it'll still be in that 200 range.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a better year. I think the Patriots are going to have to, depending on what they do, no matter what they do at quarterback, it's increased from Tom Brady. So I think there's going to be more load put on Michel's shoulders, and I think he'll step up to it. He has a lot better talent than 247 for 912. So
yeah. It just seemed like teams were keying in on Tom Brady, like knowing that he wasn't going to throw it deep last year, just with with his receivers and the questions about the arm strength. And so a lot of times there was 8-9 men stacking the box, and Michel really wasn't able to get free. And even the goal line carries would go to Burkhead or to Brandon Bolden, which hurt his value as well. I think I'm interested to see what they do with Damian Harris, because he was drafted fairly high in 2019, and he really impressed in training camp and in OTAs, but he just never saw the field in 2019. So that does worry me that he is still in that offense, and Burkhead as well. I just wish that they would move on from him. But Michel and White will definitely be. I don't think they're going to get overtaken by anyone in the offense. I just am curious if what their usage will be like. But I think I'm fine drafting either one with their current ADP. James White in the 11th round, Sony Michel in the 10th round, to get a running back 2 probably for Sony Michel, and a running back 3 for James White. But I mean, if you look, James White with the 72 receptions puts him at running back 18 over Sony Michel at running back 31. So you just, by looking at that, you can see as a fantasy owner how much receptions make a difference in an offense.
Yeah. See, I'm not as hurt by James White just because he's my third or fourth running back option because I got Zeke and McCaffrey, and I'm like he doesn't. That's great value for a number three running back for me. But it still hurts sometimes when you see him in there and you're like 7 points, bro.
Yeah.
7 points. You ran for 80 yards. How do you have 7 points? Oh, 0 touchdowns, 20 something carries. I'm like, so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Damian Harris a lot though.
I do too. I know.
Just because the way New England uses running backs, and he was a stud at Alabama. I mean, he was playing with Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, and Damian Harris. Those three, insane, and they all were crazy draft prospects.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting spec in the offense though that we have to pay attention to. I'm glad you put him on here because I forgot about him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean it's a cluster, especially in dynasty leagues because
Yeah,
if
we've seen it with Belichick so much in his career. If you fumble one time, I don't care if you're the number one guy on my team.
yeah.
See ya, you're done for the game. And here comes Damian Harris, and he who was it a couple years ago? Gray. Gray, is that his name or?
Oh yeah.
That's Gray.
Yeah.
He randomly got put in because was it LeGarrette Blount or somebody fumbled and messed up, and Silas Gray comes in and rushes for 4 touchdowns, and we're like.
Yeah, there was another running back that did that too.
Garrett Blunt or whoever it was, whoever the owner of the running back that screwed up and got bit. It might have been Sonny Michel as a rookie.
Yeah.
And everybody's sitting there like, oh no, what the heck? So like if something like that happens where Michel screws up, Damian Harris could easily come in and just take over.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to scare people off Sonny Michel. I'm just saying, just be cautious with him.
Yeah.
Cautious with him. You just never know with Patriots running backs.
Yeah, you never know with Patriots, just in general, what they're thinking, what they're gonna do.
Not really since Corey Dillon.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk quickly about the wide receivers. Julian Edelman, surprise wide receiver 7 last year, which honestly he's just been doing his whole career, is catching passes from Tom Brady, going past 1,000 yards and scoring touchdowns. He's 33 years old. I think he has 1 to 2 more good years left in him. I think it's definitely going to be hard for him without Tom Brady, just because they had such a good connection. He was so good with the Patriots for so long. But I mean, he's definitely in the 12th round. I think it's a really good value, and I think he's just going to keep dropping. His ADP is just going to keep dropping. I wouldn't be surprised that by the time June or July rolls around that he's all the way in the 13th or 14th round, just as people see the effect of the departure of Tom Brady. So he's definitely a receiver that I'm happy to target late in drafts, but I'm also a little bit hesitant just knowing that he's not going to be around for too much longer in the Patriot uniform. But I mean, if you're in a PPR league and you're looking for a solid wide receiver 3 or 4 or just a flex play, Julian Edelman's going to get receptions as a slot receiver, despite having N'Keal Harry alongside of him and Mohamed Sanu. So I like Julian Edelman. I think he's going to be fine in the Patriot offense, but I'm definitely not expecting 100 receptions. I think it's definitely going to drop into the 80s. But he's still a decent value.
Yeah. I don't know. Guys like this sometimes just get old quick. This dude's taken a beating over the years, and it sucks seeing Tom leave now. I think his career is kind of it's like the closing act now this season. It'll start to dwindle down, and we'll see N'Keal Harry step up. You'll see. I don't know about Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
Up, but being the normal Sahamed
Manu.
And then I'm sure they'll address maybe address another receiver in draft.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if it's 12th round, yeah, just because the guys we're talking about in that range are like we just mentioned, Crowder and John Brown, very similar spots. So. And Edelman's still clearly number 1 for now. So
yeah,
It's just tough. But yeah, if I'm dynasty, I'm staying away from him completely.
Yeah.
Unless it's late. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's because he's been such a great player to watch with Tom Brady over the years.
Yeah.
But just like Wes Welker's career ended so fast out of nowhere. Obviously, he went to Denver. Um, I don't want to speak this on him, but I feel like the same thing's about to happen with Edelman over the next year or two.
Wait, what receiver did you just say?
Welker.
Oh, well, okay. I thought that's who you said,
Yeah.
but I thought you said. Did you say something about the Denver Broncos?
I said just like Welker, and then I said, but I guess he did go to Denver.
Oh, okay.
That's where he kind of.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Demaryius Thomas for a second, and I was like, he went off the deep end as well.
He did.
Yeah, I think. What'd you say?
And with the Jets last year.
Yeah. I think N'Keal Harry, obviously, he should be the first Patriot drafted in your dynasty leagues. From a wide receiver standpoint, definitely don't take Edelman over N'Keal Harry. N'Keal Harry's going to be a great wide receiver. He had injury issues in 2019, but only played in 7 games, but had 12 receptions, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's going to be a good receiver for the Patriots, specifically the new New England Patriots with a new quarterback, new offense. I really like Harry. I think he's a great value in the 7th round. As long as the Patriots are solid at the quarterback position. And same thing with Mohamed Sanu. I mean, I think he was doing great with the Atlanta Falcons. It was surprising that the Patriots gave up a 2nd-round pick for Mohamed Sanu because he came in and he wasn't a huge value. A lot of the stats that you see there were with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, he got hurt.
He got hurt when he came over to New England. So.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what he does in 2020, but I think that with a new quarterback, I think that he adds some value to the offense, but definitely I think 20th round is fine with his value. He's up there in the 30 something year old receiver, and is more of a kind of slot underneath receiver. He's not going to have a ton of touchdown upside.
Right.
And then how about the tight end position? I labeled this as a potential rookie landing spot as well. Matt LaCosse, tight end 58 last year, 13 receptions, 1 touchdown, 131 yards. I don't know why the Patriots wouldn't go and get a tight end. Pair him up with either Stidham or a rookie quarterback and just develop from there. But I could definitely see like a Bryson Hopkins. Who's the tight end that you keep talking about from Harrison Bryant, yeah, Cole Kmet. I think those 3 would be great fits in the Patriot offense, just because they, the Patriots do like to use the tight end more so as a pass catcher than a run blocker. They still use that traditional fullback set often, which usually opens up a lot for the tight end. So. I'm not buying Matt LaCosse in any leagues. No, thank you. I'll just go either to another team or hope that they sign a rookie. How about you?
Agreed.
Yeah.
If I wasn't on Chris Herndon or Ryan Griffin, I'm definitely not on him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, now let's give our predictions for the 2020 season, Anthony. Patriots, Bills, Dolphins, and Jets. Last episode, we were pretty spot on with this, but let's. Where you want to start? First.
Like how are we spot on that?
No, we were in agreement.
Together.
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Where you want to start? First or fourth?
I think we always start fourth, so let's just keep doing that.
Okay. I will start. I will say New York Jets. Fourth.
Oh.
I think it's between them and the Miami Dolphins. But
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I do. I think. Yeah.
Okay. I'm picking the Patriots.
Wow. Okay.
They don't have anything. These other guys at least have quarterbacks right now.
Okay.
You know, we know what they have at quarterback, other than Miami.
Right.
I know Miami has so much talent around that they won last year without a quarterback. So, and the Patriots barely won with the best quarterback ever. So
Yeah.
they barely, but you know what I mean.
Okay, Patriots.
I'm picking the Patriots fourth, yeah.
Okay.
Which is so weird to say.
Yeah. It has to happen at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, third. Who are you going?
Dolphins.
Dolphins. Okay.
Yes.
I will go. I'll go Dolphins as my third place team. I think they did a really good job getting the best out of their assets, and I think that they're going to really improve in the draft. I think their defense is much improved.
Yes.
I think just the question of quarterback, what they do at that position, if they, I mean, we want to see Tua or whoever's there at quarterback play, but I think if it's Ryan Fitzpatrick playing the whole 2020 season, I almost said 2016 season, if he's playing all 16 games, I think I would think they're going to be in third place.
Yeah. Okay.
That leaves me with my second place team as the New England Patriots.
Sorry, I had a brain fart. I'm trying to remember where we were at. Okay, Patriots number 2 for you.
Yeah.
For me, it's Jets.
The Jets.
I'll take the Jets. Yeah.
Okay.
The Jets had such a weird season last year, and they still finished 7-9. They're going to add a weapon. Sam Darnold is not going to miss games with mono, I would hope. Le'Veon Bell will be better. And I think Jets they went 7-9 last year with that weird whole season. I think they can win.
Dang, I did not realize that.
It's so tough with me between them and New York, or with them and Miami, though. It's going to be right there. A tough race for that number 2 spot, and potentially that final wild card spot, but probably not.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Number 1.
I didn't realize that they were 7-9 last year, so that definitely makes sense. I'm just curious with the Patriots. I still have belief in Bill O'Brien and Josh McDaniels to somehow.
Belichick.
I feel.
Belichick.
Oh my God!
Nobody
I
has
can't
belief
believe I
in
just
Bill
said that.
O'Brien.
Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels to put something on the offense. I really feel like Belichick has so much pride that he's like, I'm not rolling over just to get a quarterback in 2021. I think he's gonna.
Yeah, no.
I think he's gonna do something, and I think that the Patriots compete, and I think they have a better record than most people think. I don't think they're close to winning the division, but I think that they have a better record than people think. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. A lot of my people in Ohio will just remember the last time Bill Belichick didn't have Tom Brady. He struggled to win with the Browns. So
That's true.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna roll over 100%. No, I just don't think they're not gonna be good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
They missed pieces on defense too. Kyle Van Noy is going to be a tough loss.
Yep.
But yeah, Buffalo's clearly number 1. We haven't even talked about our number 1 team.
Buffalo Bills.
I think that's just easy.
Yeah, I think the Bills have all the pieces. They have a really good defense, and the move for Stephon Diggs made it clear that they are in a Super Bowl window now type of mindset. They want to go for it, and I think that they still have a chance to do something good in the draft and add either at least one good offensive weapon and a couple of defensive weapons as well, just to shore up the defensive side of the ball. So I think they're the clear number 1 team. I think it could be close depending on what the Jets do, or the Patriots, but I think the Bills, just what they did last year was impressive, and I think that they're just getting better, another year under their belt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a real sleeper. They're not going to beat Kansas City or Baltimore, but they're a real sleeper to do what Tennessee did last year and get in there and upset one of those top 2s and potentially give the other one a run for their money. I mean, they're a real sleeper to win the AFC, honestly.
Yeah.
Just we'll see, but I like Buffalo a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so Anthony goes Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. I am going Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. We'll see what happens. If you're listening to this episode or watching this episode, go ahead and leave a either DM us or comment on our post on Instagram, or leave a comment on the video who you think who your top 4 teams are in the division and which order they go in 2020. We're gonna finish off this episode talking the rookie quarterbacks. I guess we could throw in Jordan Love in there, but we were gonna talk top 3: Joe Burrow, Tua. We can talk Jordan Love, and then we can talk Justin Herbert as well. But let's just. What'd you say?
What about your boy Fromm?
Yeah, Fromm, no way.
Go ahead.
What was that show? There was
QB1?
the QB1 show. He was on there, and once I watched that, I just stopped caring about him.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Very passionate, 100%, but passionate with no talent.
Well, yeah, when I watched, I was just like, this guy. I was like, this is the guy that is like leading Georgia to the national championship. Holy cow!
And then if you watch the next season,
yeah, exactly.
Justin Fields.
Yeah.
He really screwed that up, man.
Justin Fields, gosh.
But Georgia just got another. I know we're not talking about college football, but and then if you watch the season after, it might be the same season as Justin Fields actually. There's another quarterback who just transferred to Georgia to take over for Jake Fromm. So it's like, okay, I guess Georgia doesn't recruit quarterbacks. They just watch QB1.
Yeah.
I guess, from Netflix.
Yeah.
But,
They just go get him.
yeah. Okay.
So, we'll just kind of make it short and brief, but what do we like about each quarterback? I think Burrow obviously is going to go number 1 just based on what he did last year, but is he your number 1 quarterback prospect? Who do you think has the most successful NFL career of these 4 quarterbacks?
That's just tough because it's all about landing spots. I want to say, out of all of them, I like Tua the most.
Yeah.
But Tua has a lot of injury history.
Yeah.
So I like that. I love Joe Burrow, but is he going to? Andy Dalton survived in Cincinnati for a long time, and Joe Burrow is way more talented. So I think he can survive there, But like I said, if Justin Herbert or Jordan Love gets to go to New England with Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick, man, I don't know how you don't potentially see one of those guys having the best career out of all of them.
Yeah.
But it's tough. So let's just, if we look at all the predictions, a lot of mock drafts, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati.
Yep.
Tua, Miami. Justin Herbert, I think Chargers.
Chargers, yep.
And then Jordan Love, a lot of them are Chargers, a lot of them are, New England.
Raiders, New England.
Raiders. Okay, out of all that, honestly, I would probably go with Joe Burrow. Just because Joe Burrow has a lot of... He's just talented, man. We saw it at LSU. We saw what he did. The one knock that LSU has had throughout the years is they never have a quarterback that can get them over the hump to beat Bama to get in a national championship. And they've won national championships, but it's never with quarterbacks. It's always been with defense and run game.
Right.
And Joe Burrow just flipped a switch. Crazy. He's just a game changer. I like Joe Burrow. Out of all of them, Joe Burrow. So, I don't know what you say. I love Justin Herbert too, though.
Honestly, I was going to say Herbert. Unfortunately, he destroyed Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl.
I was going to say, you got to see that, yes.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I know a lot of people are talking about him because he almost came out last year, but he had a shoulder injury, and then when we played him in the Rose Bowl, he just smacked us, and it wasn't even just through the air. It was I think he had three rushing touchdowns.
It was all rushing. Yeah.
And the more and more that I watch his film, and you just see the build that he has, he looks like an NFL quarterback. And if you were to land in a place like LA with the Chargers,
with those weapons,
and just the direction that franchise is headed, I think it would be a really, really great fit for him. I think this year, Burrow has the most successful year out of the four. But I think
As a rookie.
yeah, but I think long term, I'm going to say that Herbert has the best NFL career of the four. I think if he gets even if he doesn't start in 2020,
Yeah.
I think 2021 and beyond that, I think he has a really good career.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's a good class, and next year
Yeah,
is great as well.
it's very similar to the Baker, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Sam Darnold.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
where it's like, man, it's really about landing spots. Like, let's be honest, if Lamar Jackson landed anywhere than Baltimore, I don't know. Because Harbaugh has shown like, yeah, we catered our offense and literally around Lamar Jackson. Like,
Yeah.
so then, um, it's crazy. It's fun. It's interesting. I think Tua has the most talent out of all of them. Honestly, like as just a pure football player and quarterback, watching he changed, dude. He changed Nick Saban. Nobody can change Nick Saban, and he did.
Yeah.
He changed Nick Saban's offensive style. Well, not just Tua, but just the way college football has went. But he was the guy.
Yeah.
Um, but the injury history is what concerns me. But I love Joe Burrow and I love Justin Herbert. It's so tough. I think Jordan Love is just going to be one of these guys that every year somebody gets big on a strong, big quarterback that comes out of a small conference and we think, and then he's just nothing.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, it worked for him. Jordan Love's not Josh Allen. I don't think Josh Allen's going to be something. I hope I'm wrong because I don't want to wish it wrong on his career, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like Herbert, especially if it's the Chargers. Man.
Yeah.
Poor Tyrod Taylor, though, if that happens.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, poor Tyrod Taylor.
Second time in a row.
Have to do it with Herbert.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love is interesting because a lot of the pro comps that I've been seeing for him are Ben Roethlisberger. Just his size, his arm strength, his ability to use his legs, and just coming out of a smaller school. I don't particularly see it. I see the physical attributes, but I think Big Ben, his I don't know whatever you want to call it, his moxie. He's a winner, and he came into the league, and he's had his off the field stuff, but I mean he's a proven leader for that team, and a Super Bowl champion, and it's not, he's never been the most talented, the most athletic, but he's used what he's had to the best of his ability, and I think that when you have a quarterback like that, it's all about where they're at mentally, being able to do that. It's like the Tom Brady's, like they're the most mentally strong quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger reminds me a lot of that. He's got a cannon for an arm, but he's just an even better mentally prepared quarterback. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the comparison.
Yeah, a lot of the comparisons I've seen is Kaepernick. I don't know if that's just because he plays in the Mountain West like Kaepernick did, and he's got that light skin build like Kaepernick did. But
yeah.
But the reason I say Joe Burrow, like I was saying earlier, is because the point that you just made, that mental preparedness. Joe Burrow is that. He's and that's just what Joe Burrow is. His mind. That's what everybody says is like, oh, he's got the Tom Brady-esque about him. It's the mentality. It's the confidence and cockiness because he knows he was overlooked. Yes, he was overlooked at Ohio State. But I mean, he was competing with a freaking another quarterback that got drafted in the first round. So I mean, you can take offense and transfer like he did, which he didn't take offense to it. He still loves Ohio State, but he has that built inside of him. Like, people overlook me, people doubt me.
Yeah.
He ain't watching this, but if he watches, he'd be like, all right, you take Justin Herbert over me. You think Tua is more talented than me? Watch, stuff like that. That's what he has about him.
Yeah.
A lot like Baker Mayfield, but he keeps it in composure.
Yeah.
He's composed with it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think if you look at the stats of Jordan Love, coming out of the Mountain West last year, I mean, he had a really good junior season. Last year, he threw 20 touchdowns, 17 interceptions in the Mountain West. and everyone talks about his athleticism. He averaged 2.2 yards per carry. He rushed, I think it was like 80 times for 170 yards, and that doesn't scream dynamic to me. Yes, does he have some athleticism? Yes, but does he actually know what to do with it? I don't think so. I think that I know a lot of teams are high on him, but I wouldn't be.
Yeah, the thing with him, they're high on him for his junior season. It's very comparable to when everybody was high on Cardale Jones for what he did for those 3 games.
Yeah.
They're high on him for his junior season. When his junior season, he had quite a few guys that were drafted and graduated from Utah State. And then his senior season, he had a bunch of new offensive linemen and new weapons. So that's where they're saying, okay, well, he took a step back, but he didn't have the help. It's like, okay, well, when you're that good, you kind of elevate the talent around you,
Yeah.
I know it's tough in a Mountain West or whatever, but yeah, I think he reminds me so much of Cardale Jones, where he just popped, and looked so good, and everybody's like, oh, this guy's a physical freak. But then it's like, okay, but then the next year, there's tape on you. You're on their radar. You didn't really pop as much.
Yeah.
So I think that's where like my comp is to him is like, yeah, he could be Colin Kaepernick, but he also could be Cardale Jones, where he's out of the league in 2 years. So it's tough. But yeah, that's why I would rather go with those other 3, because those other 3, they're gonna be set as long as they stay healthy for Tua.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Well, we will see. The NFL draft is approaching shortly. I'm pumped. We're going to have a super cool episode on that, doing some live stream during the draft, so make sure you tune in for that. And we'll be next on with the NFC East, talking the Dallas Cowboys, the Redskins, Eagles, and Giants. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully get some guests on for that episode. But thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Couch Scouts Sports Podcast. Anthony Bills and Noah Ballwig getting ready to sign off. If you have not subscribed to us on YouTube or to Apple or Spotify podcasts, go ahead and give us a subscription, a follow on Instagram. And we'd love to chat with you, talk sports. Who do you think is going to be the top quarterback in this class? We'd love to hear what your opinions are. So we will catch you guys on the next episode.